a scenario where someone is in love with a lady or vice versa, and there's no money involved. So, well, we want to go forward, but we don't have money. So, what do? You cannot both be Mr. and Mrs. Potential. One of you has to at least have something going. When I actually started in ministry, especially when I had to resign my job to start, and the church could only pay me 50K at the time.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. Get ready for transformation as we dive into God's Word. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I want to start by just attacking two extremes when it comes to this subject, and then we move on from there. The first thing I want to say is don't marry by faith. Yeah, you heard what I said. Don't marry by faith. You see, you can start a ministry by faith, but not a home. When you want to preach the message of Jesus Christ, basically all that you need is the message of the gospel. Just go around, tell people about Jesus, what he has done, work miracles, and guess what? Your following is going to grow and increase. I mean, we have biblical precedents for this. Jesus said to his disciples, when I sent you without pause or script lack you anything? And they said nothing. But when it comes to raising a family, and that's not to say that you cannot use your faith, or you shouldn't use your faith as someone who wants to marry, but there is a practical approach to marriage. All right, there are some things that must be on ground, ready before you think about, marriage. When it comes to a home, it takes money to pay house rent. It takes money to raise children, to send them to a good school. It takes money to do all those things. And even if you want to be so blinded by love, romance, and all of that, guess what? The parents, the loved ones of the lady or of the guy will not allow you. They're going to fight you. Because generally speaking, there should be some form of stability before you decide to carry someone's burdens or share anyone's burdens. Because you see, marriage is sort of a business decision, meaning it's capital intensive. Trust me, as someone raising two kids, capital intensive. Good schools are expensive. And then if God blesses you with the kind of children that he gave me, especially the first one, you see Nadia, I forget the name, the Twitch name. She's kind of raz. So Nadia can eat anything. But Edima, right from when she was a child, he was always picky. In fact, at some point as a child, the only meal he liked was this, I think it's called Purity. That's the name of it's like a paste. All right. And it was 900 naira per bottle. And she gets to eat it just twice. A small bottle. And that was the only thing she was eating. And you have to choose between her not eating at all or not taking Purity. And so raising children is so expensive. So, you don't raise children. You don't marry by faith. All right, you got to have something on ground. On the other hand, you don't marry for money. Marriage is not a career plan. It's not a business plan, all right? And you don't marry for social status also, all right? Many people have unfriendly friends that they cannot even be themselves around, friends that they cannot even be vulnerable around. So they have to pretend to be richer than they are, to break their backs to create an impression. And so their relationship choices is also part of their status symbol. Get out of that kind of friendship immediately. Don't marry for your friends. And of course, if you have good friends, you should care what your friends say. But if you have friends who only are concerned about the appearance of wealth, there's an English word for that. It's a bamicidal approach to life. Fake it, even if you haven't made it, kind of perspective. And that's going to put you in trouble. And this works both ways, both for guys and girls. Make no mistake, there are some guys who are after some ladies just because of their money. All right, and that's very embarrassing. That's very terrible. And ladies shouldn't be after some guys just because of their money. And so all I'm saying is this: the proper approach to a topic like this will be the balance of both viewpoints. On one hand, you don't marry by faith, but on the other hand, you don't marry because of money. Forget the movies, all right? Love is a serious game. And whilst you're still imagining the Indian tunes in your head, playing to the music of your romance, by the time you get together and before you know it, you have a child and you have to pay bills, and I mean heavy bills, then you will know that it's not a game. The movies lied. Okay? It's serious business. So you have to be ready to put in the work. It's beyond the butterflies. The picture of love is not just butterflies. It's hammer, like hard labor, work. And then, of course, the Bible also has something to say about contentment. In Luke chapter 12, verse 15, a man's life does not consist in the abundance of the things that he possesses. Take heed, beware of covetousness. A man's life does not consist in the abundance of the things that he possesses. And so your love should not also be just about the abundance of the things that a man possesses. Let me tell you something. I've been old enough to see that the present is never a predictable prophecy of the future. And so we have to be very careful in our assessment of the present. This is so profound. How many of you were head over heels in love with someone some years ago, and now you want to slap yourself like, was I crazy? And now remember that the next time you think you have it absolutely figured out, when you want to make your decisions, maybe you just need to still slow down and examine things. Because the Bible says that money can develop wings and fly away. I've seen people who had at least the appearance of wealth have nothing few years later. And I've seen people who no one really considered to be anything extraordinary, and their life changes. Listen, God can change lives, so be very, very careful. In this life, what you say about people, how you treat people and all of that, it's very important. So here's my suggestion. Your choice, when it all comes down to it, should have to be beyond, let me use the word potential. It has to be deeper than that. You might consider the wedding vows in most weddings, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. You may consider it extreme because you're a person of faith. But when it all comes down to it, I feel like the essence of love is this. I'm not just getting married to you for when it's convenient. When it's tough, I'll be here. When it's great, I'll be here. I choose you, and it's that simple. So on one hand, I'm not going to marry like an idiot. I'm going to make a smart choice, because there are basic requirements before you choose to get married. You should at least be able to put food on the table, shelter, clothing, and all of that, raise children and all of that. But at the same time, I don't want to have a superficial emotional attachment to anybody. The second thing I want to talk about is this: never apologize for having standards and qualifications, before you choose who you want to spend the rest of your life with. Yeah, you have the potential to be a very loving husband who can raise his children, send them to schools and all of that. But do you have the requisite training and preparation for it? That's the real question. Whoever you want to spend the rest of your life with must show you more than potential, must show you something practical. If it's a talent, must show you that talent is actually has commercial value. People have to be willing to pay to hear you sing, and must have paid once or twice or 5 times. Okay, this is important. And if you are not yet at that point, whilst you are not seeing a career in music, for instance, maybe you should get a job on the side. Listen, even if you've not had the opportunity to execute your big dreams, there should be smaller things you've done in the past that show consistency, that show seriousness, and things that people can bank on concerning your future. You have a consistent character. You are a finisher, and you can keep your word. You can stay committed to a dream and see it manifest. Those are the ways you can help people actually walk towards, actually believe in you and walk with you. So that's also important. Another thing I want to say is this. Yeah, on one hand, if Mr. Potential is giving you signs that based on his past decisions that things are going to manifest in the future, you must however bear in mind that the timing also must make sense. Let me give you a scenario, and this scenario has played out 1,000 times. So you are in school with someone, you're reading together, going to lectures together, and then you fall in love in the same class, and you start dating, and then you graduate together. Now it's all nice and sweet and emotional. You want to spend the rest of your life together. You've imagined what your children will look like and all of that. But now there is the reality of life. Maybe not necessarily the reality of life, but the reality of social culture and social construct. When a man and a woman graduate the same time, socially, I'm not saying this is a logical fact, but statistically, women are more ready to marry than men. In fact, most women, they embrace the idea of getting married 1 year, 2 years after graduation. For many people, that's their expectation, in fact. But the guy who just finished from school, all he's thinking about, he's overwhelmed with the fact that, hey, my life is just starting, and chances are that marriage is the last thing on his mind. And so even though they've bonded emotionally, now you are faced with the practical reality. Like, how do I get ready? Because a lady is ready to move on, but the guy is just starting. And that's why practically it looks like ladies usually end up with guys who are maybe 4 years older, 3 years older, thereabout. The guy must have gone ahead, had some things established and all of that. Because even emotionally, ladies are more mature than men. At least they have a better picture of their future sometimes. I don't really want to talk about that now. So there is that. So the timing, does it add up? This is a question you have to ask yourself. How much time do I have? It doesn't mean I don't believe in you, but can it work for both of us? And another important, maybe call it a balance to this, is you cannot both be Mr. and Mrs. Potential. One of you has to at least have something going. Do you understand? This is so important. So let me use myself as an example. When I actually started in ministry, especially when I had to resign my job to start, and church could only pay me 50K at the time, I depended on her job, which was also not a high-paying job, but we needed it. We needed that job dearly, desperately. In fact, I think when she told me she wanted to resign, I said, pray. Which was a little one-sided, because when I wanted to resign, she supported me and all of that, but it just gave us some stability. So, well, you say, I'm speaking from her standpoint. Oh, you say you have a call to ministry. Well, I'm going to focus on career, and then we balance things up, and then when things get better, you can move on from that. So I think that's a very smart idea, to have, and it's also a very good place to practice feminism. If the grace is on your woman, support her. So as a couple, you can plan together. So if you are in a building financial process stage, then one of us has to be stable. Okay, I believe I've already shared some thoughts that will really help you, but I just want to say this. How then can I know? I'll just mention four things to look out for. Number one, the person has to be great with relationships. Of course, I'm not talking about romantic relationships, but with people. Let me say this. You might not see it in many business books, but one of the most important principles of success in life is learning to forge and foster the right relationships. You have to learn to build networks with people. So you ask yourself, do people see this guy, this lady, as someone who is resourceful? As someone they want to work with, do business with, or they just want to involve in things that are good? So when you see that at work in that person, because when it all comes down to it, I don't care how many books on financial systems you've read, the reality of the situation is about 3% of the world's people control 90% of the world's wealth. And guess what? That wealth is going to move down their family, and their family members are not going to be rich because they read 7 Secrets to Wealth, but because of relationship. So relationship is one very crucial factor in wealth generation. What I just said, as simple as that is, it will change your life. So is the person someone who has learned loyalty, service? People can look up to the person and say, you have my back. And you take relationships seriously, and that leads me to the next point: hard work. If the person does not really have much now, but you can see that consistent effort, that compelling dream, that desire to be better, to get stuff done, to put food on the table. When you see that, that's something you can bank on. And then you must see precedence, because no matter the talent you have to kill Goliath, if you have not killed the lion and the bear, no one is going to let you kill. Even if oil is on your head, you're going to need precedence. All right, and you can actually judge the future to a large extent, even if that's not all there is to it. And that's why I'm giving you other points. But the past, the decisions of the past, all right, give you an idea of what the future will look like. And the most important point, especially in this part of the world, is versatility. There are some people, they are very good at what they do, but if what they do dies, they die. You have to look out for a fighting spirit, the ability to reinvent yourself, even if you need to go to school again to learn something new. You need that versatility. All right. So, those are my few thoughts on this, and I hope it helped you.
I believe you have been blessed by this message. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. God bless you.